Hey, 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 what is happening? You made it. You are at the live stream of consciousness. My name is Michael Zinn. I am so happy that you guys made it here. It's good to see you, even though I can't really see you, but I can feel you, and I really appreciate it. I know you guys can feel my excitement. I've been kind of posting a bit about it this week. Am super excited for tonight's guest. It's like a pleasure and an honor, and it makes me feel happy that this show, which was kind of like created out of an intention to commit to myself to be somewhere once a week and have these amazing conversations, has turned into such a great uh, outlet and a little family. It's good to see you all out there. What's up, Jilly? What's up, Tim? What's up, Ninja? Good to see you guys. Thanks for being here as always. So if you don't know who I'm having on tonight, I'm going to talk about it for a quick moment and give him an introduction. Um, the gentleman I'm having on tonight is an amazing comedian who has had a great comedian career, comic career on television. You might have even seen him in the past, and then had an interesting experience with who he was and what he was doing. And this movie came about, and this tribute show came about, all about Robin Williams, who I'm sure everybody loves out there. And the story is amazing, and the man himself is amazing. And I know when I met him and I saw the show, I definitely literally felt a cosmic presence. Um, that's the best way I could describe it. It was just an amazing experience. So without any further ado, I am super excited that he's here tonight. Welcome to the live stream of consciousness, Roger Kabler. What's happening, Roger?
Hey everybody, what's
How you
happening?
doing?
I'm having a bad hair life. You'll have to excuse me. I didn't put myself together for this.
You
Hi,
look
Mike.
awesome, dude. How you doing, Roger?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing great. I am again super grateful that you said yes to this show. I'm
Thanks.
hoping to talk to you about some things that you might not usually talk about on interviews. I definitely
It's
want to
okay.
talk about your show and what you're doing. But the live stream of consciousness was kind of born out of this desire to have kind of deep conversations about existence and life and, well, consciousness. um so the
Let's be
question
conscious.
the question that I ask everybody, which I love to hear all the answers and put them together in this one big growing definition, is what is consciousness? What is consciousness to you?
To me,
Yeah, what does it mean?
that's a great word. It gets knocked around a lot by intellectuals who want to use it. And to tell you the truth, I don't use it. So you caught me with my mental pants down. Sometimes it means, oh, I'm up now. I have to go get coffee and get more conscious. I'm barely conscious. And I also think it's a sensitivity. And then once I've had the coffee, I realize, oh, it's. I got to go feed the birds because the birds are waiting for me. I'm aware that I'm part of a system, an ecosystem, and so I'll
Mhm.
get a handful of bird seed, 3 handfuls, and then I pray, and because I need to pray, and I get on my knees and say, what do you want me to do? That's my prayer. It's actually very simple. So that's sort of a consciousness towards spiritual matters that also help me personally as a human being.
Mhm.
Being conscious of others, being conscious of my own needs, being conscious of what's working in my life and work. What's not working? Let's be conscious. Let's tell the truth. Consciousness is something that should be more in our consciousness because we've gotten away from the truth a little bit. I'm sorry, what was the question?
Awesome. I love
Find
the
my
answer.
movie. Okay.
We're gonna get to plenty of that.
What do you think consciousness means? You brought it up.
You know what? I think consciousness is the ability to understand that you're having an experience.
Oh, that. Yeah.
Yeah, that. Just being aware of the I am, that you are existing, and then I think it spreads out from there. I mean, we talk a lot about energy here, how everything is energy.
Consciousness. I like that definition. I'm sort of the meat and potatoes definition, and I just don't. I don't think like you, and I'm glad.
I disagree. I think everything that you said was perfectly in line with the things that I think about consciousness. Being aware of other people, that's important. I mean, being conscious of other people. The word itself, the literal meaning, applies to the deeper meaning. I think, you know what I mean. It's just like a microcosm of the word.
Microcosm. I had that for dinner. It comes with a little apple.
A lot of people are saying hello to you. I was putting up hello, welcome. Tim said he's seen you before, because I was talking about how
Hey Tim. Oh
people may have
yeah,
seen you before. And
I know these people. Hi
yeah.
guys.
And Jilly was saying, I think this was when you were talking about your hair. She said, "You are perfect."
Julie, thank you. You have no idea what's going on with me. It's if you're vain, you're going to worry about it. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to give you my consciousness. I was just finishing up a painting, getting ready to go to bed, and I got your text. If you're having technical problems, I'm like,
Uh,
I gotta
I'm
do a
so glad I
podcast.
decided to text you.
No, I'm so sorry. It's not.
It's all
It's
right.
just that I have to look at my calendar. I have to be conscious from time to time. I missed surgery once, so don't take it
Oh,
personally.
jeez.
Yeah, I missed the surgery. Like, where
You
are you?
know,
You're supposed to be here on a gurney right now. Oh,
oh man.
I'm
You know
sorry.
what? That's funny as material, and even kind of funny as circumstance.
Well, it wasn't funny to them.
Yeah.
You know what? I
Well,
had a doctor recently. I had something they were looking at, and he said, "What do you do for a living?" And I said, "Well, I'm a comedian." He goes, "Well, that's where we're different, because when you go out to do your job, you're supposed to kill." And I just laughed.
he was a
That
funny
was the
doctor.
funniest thing I've ever heard a doctor say.
That was pretty funny.
That would be hard, difficult for him. Anyway.
Anyway, so like I said, the show is created to have great conversations, and actually for me to give you space to talk about who you are and what you do.
Mhm.
But we still have another live stream of consciousness protocol to go through. You and I have never really talked about our spiritual beliefs, whether you believe in a higher power, or you just think that everything is here randomly, or any of that stuff.
Mm.
But the question I usually ask is because I know where people are spiritually when I'm talking to them, that they believe that there's something more to existence than we've been taught. Like think metaphysical things, like like spirits on the other side and things like that. And so
Yeah.
I kind of have a feeling where you stand on those things, having seen your movie. But the question is there a moment or a story that you can tell us that you realized that you realized that there was something other than the stuff you were taught in school?
Well, I didn't learn anything in school anyway, and if they tried, I was too stoned. Which brings me to how I came across what I feel like is as close as I can prove that there's something greater than us that created us. And I think the question is it conscious? Is it of intelligence, or is it chaos that threw us into this and we evolved? And what I came up with, I was at a sober living for a period. I got sober about 20 years ago, and I had relapsed, and they made me sit and write 60,000 words. I had 2 weeks where I was just writing. And during that time, it occurred to me that we're intelligent. I believe we are intelligent. And so, therefore, whatever made us is probably intelligent too.
Hmm.
Ping.
Yeah.
Is that proof? Well, my girlfriend says, well, it could be that, and we evolved, and intelligence may have started out as this little, hey, thing, and it organized into some more, higher intelligence till we got to this disastrous species.
Yeah.
So, but something started it, something of intelligence. So
Mhm.
my thing is that whatever has created us is probably one step ahead of us, and I have no idea what that is. When I pray, I'm like, whatever, God, whatever it is that created me, I'm your monster. I'm your creation. What should you have me do? And I
Mm.
ask that like I'm asking my boss. Okay, I'm done. What do you want me to do? And my relationship with my creator is simply that I'm at service to that. It
Mm.
kept me alive through all those drugs and all that
Mhm.
craziness for some reason, and it's not to become some ugly stain on the mural of life. It's to do something purposeful and good, and to make amends for all those problems that I created when I was doing drugs, drinking.
Sure.
So that's kind of what my life is about: mending fences and living, um, uh, living right. It's not perfect, you know.
Right.
I
Right.
think that's a little bit
I
preachy.
love it. I love it. I love that answer to the question, and I certainly,
Well, that's all the time we have for today.
yeah, good, nice to see you later. No, but, not I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No, no,
I
no.
just
I've cut you off.
I feel like I feel like you are, having met you and seen you and experienced you, I feel like you are certainly in touch with that, what you just said, and and really kind of probably more so than others. I don't know if you view it as a spirituality. I certainly do.
Yeah.
You are in touch with source and you let it flow through you. You know what I mean? It's obvious.
I didn't ask. I did ask, but I didn't know when I, getting back to getting sober, I had a remarkable spiritual experience that 20 years ago when I first got sober that just blew that top off the
Hear it.
whole
Let's hear it.
thing. And something got in touch with me, something very profound and loving, and changed me entirely. And I don't call it a religious experience, it was a spiritual experience. And I've had several others. And one of them was with Robin Williams.
Mm,
And I can recognize it as such because of the way you feel. You're going through a transformation. So you're going into a physical sensation of traveling or a tunnel, or something's going through you.
mhm,
And it's fast and it's exciting and it's scary. And sometimes it's beautiful and light. And sometimes it's very scary and dark. Still a spiritual experience. And mine with Robin started out pretty dark
mhm,
because I experienced some things that he went through
mm,
towards the end of his life that were really hard for me to experience.
mm,
It was a spiritual experience, but it was,
mhm,
and then
mhm,
it got
mhm,
light. Then
mhm,
it got
mhm.
like,
Yeah.
oh God, this is like a drug. Whoa, where are we going? I don't know. It's just like,
Yeah,
let's make a movie. Okay.
I love it.
So it was like I understood that he wanted something from me, and that was to help him get back to work. And I know you didn't ask me about the movie, but that's how it's tied into this.
Well, that you know what, honestly, that's what made me think of you and say, "Holy shit, Roger would be an amazing guest to talk to on
Well,
the show," you know?
thank you. I will tell you the dark. One thing that happened
Yeah, I'd love to hear
shortly
it.
after he died, I was just walking in the woods. I live near the woods, and out of my mouth, without my permission, without any forewarning, came, "I miss my kids." I know. And I said, "I'm sorry. What did you say? Why are you doing?" I was so upset that this was happening because I didn't
Wow.
want this. I didn't invite
Did you
it.
recognize where it was coming from or not yet?
I was Robin Williams going, "I miss my kids," for a second.
So you
It
felt
came from
like
my
Robin.
heart. It wasn't
Wow.
my kids, it was Robin and his kids, but it came through me and through my mouth and through my heart and my consciousness. And I was at first very upset and mad. I'm like, "Well, you can't hijack me and jump me in the woods like that. That's not
Mm.
cool."
Mhm, mhm,
Eventually, these events kept happening, I threw him out.
mm.
I didn't know what he wanted, but he would, like, grab my girlfriend, or I'd be painting and he'd grab a brush and go, "Oh, let's try this." And that's in the movie, but and
Yeah.
I'm just like, "You can't do this. I'm not
I'm
in show
curious,
business."
so I'm curious as to that particular story you just told, that wasn't really in the movie.
What? I miss my kids?
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna put that in because I feel like
Oh, it's so
maybe his kids will
powerful.
see it, and it's
Uh,
extraordinarily painful. There's other things that relate to his kids and his wife.
mhm, mhm,
That moment in particular, I just felt it was too personal to put in the movie. There's some things
mhm,
you
mhm.
don't. It was
Understandable.
too dark.
Right.
It was so scary for me for that to
Wow.
happen.
It was powerful to just hear it, man. It's that energy that I always talk about, man. I felt it when
Mhm.
you said it, you know? It's
W Well, I had to just take a second and pause and remember what that was like, and conjure it a little bit because the
mhm,
memory it's strong, and
yeah,
I don't do an impression of Robin. I really feel like I can kind of do it in the context of a conversation, but
right.
the way it really works is when somebody triggers it or something triggers it,
Absolutely.
and suddenly Robin pops out,
Yeah.
um, quite unexpectedly at times when, we have a similar energy, but Robin is Robin and I'm me, and I feel like sometimes I really am harboring a spirit. I'm not trying to prove it. I'm just this is the story, and that's the film, and You can just
I
help
think the
yourself.
people, yeah, and I think the people who are supposed to receive it will. I certainly, I mean, I didn't even see the movie. Just meeting you and kind of hearing your story and
Mhm.
feeling you. You know what I mean? It was very evident. So, um,
Thank you.
yeah, and I was thinking actually recently, I was like, I believe in a source energy and that we're all connected to it in some
Oh, yeah.
way. And I was like, wow, what if Roger is not necessarily channeling Robin, but channeling whatever Robin was channeling. So that same connection that we were talking about that you have to the higher power, your higher power,
Right.
you're on that same frequency. It's like almost like
That's
you're tuned to that same frequency.
that's really, really close, Michael, to my philosophy about, spirit. Uh, because at one point I said, "Why me?" Like a biblical character, "Why me?" And the feeling I got from Robin is, "Dude, it's not just you. I'm everywhere. I spread out like radio waves. It isn't pointed. I received it in the way I received it. You received it in the way you received it. My reception had to do with my knowledge and my facility with who he is and how I am and what I feel about him.
Right.
I'm deeply devoted to this being.
Yeah,
I've always
absolutely.
been like a spiritual brother. So,
Right,
I
right.
mean, that's how I received Robin. But I also, in addition to that, what's really strange, Michael, about this whole thing is that I feel him experiencing things through me.
That's so cool.
So I'm not just experiencing him. I recognize when he's feeling laughter in the
Yeah.
audience and it builds and
And
his
you
joy.
know what, again, I think it's evident in the energy exchange when you're doing a show or not even like just doing this interview, you know what I mean? Like and he popped in for a second there and I definitely feel that. And you've got to be tapping into some psychic too, because we had a question, why do you think Robin Williams picked you? And
I
you
see that.
answered
Hey, Courtney.
it.
Um, okay, here's one logical explanation.
Mhm.
Robin saw me do an impression of him on TV.
Mm.
I was doing something called The Next Best Thing in front of 8 million people were watching this thing on ABC. It was a reality show about impressionists, like 15 years ago. And it got back to me that he really liked what I did. And I never met him, but he saw me and it got back to me that through a
Right,
mutual friend, he said, Robin really liked your impression of him.
right,
So I did an impression of Robin and he liked it. And, you could say, well, that's why he's haunting you or that's why he chose you. But I know there's other people out there that feel what I feel. They may
right,
not express it the same way, but
right.
they feel Robin. How can you
Absolutely.
not?
Well, you know what I was thinking also, and it's interesting because I was just thinking this earlier as we were talking, is that idea of channeling and tapping into the source energy. I
Yeah.
feel like that's why people like Robin Williams or love Robin Williams or
Mhm.
watch Robin Williams and like, oh, it's a reflection of themselves and their own connection, but they haven't tapped into it on that frequency. Uh, you
They
know,
do it on their own. They have their
right,
own feelings about him. Some people
right,
were probably in love with him. I love the spirit. I think Robin was one of the great spirits. When I see him, I recognize him as a Buddha or
mhm,
somebody who's tapped into something so
yeah,
profound and also a very silly individual, naughty.
right.
And there's so much going on there, but in essence of who he is, I try to tap in. I'm going to just show you the cover of the movie here.
Oh yeah,
This
you know what? I meant to put this banner up,
this is
and
me doing Robin at a moment when I was completely possessed
yeah,
with
look at
him.
that.
When he was completely with me
Totally.
during the taping of a show, and the camera picked it up, and I used it for a still
Yeah,
for the
hold
cover
on.
of for the poster of the movie, and you can see it. I'm just kind of taken. I'm taken.
Yeah,
He can look
totally.
like him, but there's more going on in that picture.
Totally. So I'm gonna bring up I got your website up
Oh,
here.
there it is. Oh, cool. Thanks.
So
I'm not
so
trying to just pitch the film. I'm trying to
no,
explain
no,
my
no.
experience.
I am trying to pitch the
You
film, and I'm hoping that some of my audience. I hope you get a couple of sales. I personally bought
mhm.
2 copies. I bought one for
Oh, thanks.
myself and one for my mom, and
How
and
did your mom take it? Was she alright?
she loved it. She definitely loved it, and I mean, she was a huge Robin Williams fan. You know, she she's not as spiritually her spiritual, dictionary isn't the same as mine 100%. So you know, the idea of channeling and stuff, I don't know if
Right.
she understands it, but to me, you know, it's your comedy prowess is evident when, you know, you see your comedy act,
Oh, thank you.
and your impression, you know, your impressions of Robert De Niro and
Oh,
what's his name, the guy from Jaws. Oh, I forgot his name. I
oh,
can't think
Richard
of it.
Dreyfuss.
Richard Dreyfuss.
Yeah,
You
well,
know,
nobody even remembers that anymore. You know, it's kind of frustrating to me.
I know we don't remember your name, man. It's. I'm
I'm the
sorry.
guy from Jaws, Close Encounters, and Goodbye Girl. You know, and I am so adorable. I won an Oscar for that work, and nobody remembers me. You know.
I remembered you. I just didn't remember your
No,
name.
I know you do, but all these other people, when I say Richard Dreyfuss, they go, "Who? What? I don't remember him." But it's all
Awesome.
good.
I love that. And Tim, see, already you got a sale. Tim says when he
Oh,
gets
thanks,
back to the
Tim.
States.
Where are you,
Um,
Tim? Where's Tim?
Tim is in Brazil, actually. Tim has a great
Oh, for
story. He was a
sure.
guest. He was a viewer who turned into a guest on the show, who met the love of his life in Brazil,
Wow.
and she doesn't speak English, but they have this incredible relationship. And yeah,
A
Tim is an
great
awesome
looking
person.
couple. Hey, good luck, you guys. Come to the show.
And Courtney ordered the movie. She had already
Oh,
ordered the
thank
movie. I
you,
spoke to
Courtney.
her. Yeah,
Enjoy. I
yeah.
will. Did she get a DVD? I'll sign it and stuff.
She
It'll
did.
be worth
You
$10.
probably sent it out. I think she ordered it a couple of days ago, so you probably sent it out. Or
Oh,
if you
that's
didn't,
Courtney. I did
yeah.
sign it for you, Courtney. I know
Oh,
you're
nice.
Gothic, right? Is she the
Yes,
Gothic
yes.
lady?
Gothic Dolly. Yep,
Yeah,
yep,
I
yep.
sent it out yesterday. You get it.
Nice,
Couple of
nice,
days. I
awesome.
thought she looked familiar. Well, that's
So,
cool. What I think is cool.
you were talking about my mom, and she's
Is
in
this
the
your mom?
audience. That's my mom, and
Hi, Mom.
she says she loves it. Robin Williams is a mensch, and she says that's what I see in Roger. So Roger, my
Oh,
mom
thank you.
says you're a mensch.
Hey, Haiti, thank you. Is it Haiti?
Hedy
Haiti.
Gramami.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Haiti. Yeah. Ooh, you're almost. Oh, you're busted. So listen, what's happening is people like Courtney. Who I don't. Courtney, do I know you? Have we met? I'm just curious.
Well, she did say thank you. There's a bit of a delay, so
Oh,
she'll
have we
respond. But
met? Can we ask
she
Courtney?
already got the DVD. She said.
And I signed it already for you, Courtney. I didn't sign it Gothic because I figured that's not probably your real name, but I would have. I did sign it Courtney. I don't know Courtney. I don't think we've ever met. And so people that I don't know are starting to buy the movie, which is nice because
Cool.
you're starting to get a trickle of interest from other places other than your friends. Because
Right.
you make a movie and then your friends go, "Oh yeah, I'll buy it," and then you hope that people you don't know are going to start to catch on by doing
Right.
things. And you have a great show here. I mean, thanks for
Thank you.
asking me to do it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I think, you know, there's probably some people who will get a glimpse of the trailer and see it and be like, oh, that looks like a great performance. But again, I think once you, I mean, again, I met you twice. I met you at a show.
Hmm.
I think you were opening up for, oh no, it was my friend's band was opening for you and I was videoing them.
Who was
Uh,
your friend's band?
Tommy Stiegler, it was Schroeder's Ghost was the
Where
name of
was
the
that?
band. It was a theater you were doing for Norm the Music Man.
Okay, in Long Island.
Yeah, in Long
Oh my
Island.
God. Was
Yeah,
that
yeah.
during COVID? There were like 12
That
people in
was
the
not
audience.
so that was pre-COVID, and then a
Oh,
couple of years later, you did a show, and I ended up working with Norm because I was at that show
okay.
pre-COVID, and it was at Elite Studios, and I was at that show as
Elite
well.
student. Norm's quite a character. I
Yeah,
love
he is
Norm.
quite a
I've worked
character,
with him a couple
totally,
times. Um,
totally.
so we were getting back to
You were talking about people are picking up on the movie, and
well, yeah. I mean,
I
that's
think maybe
that's
you were
the
done with
movie,
that.
and
I don't know.
it's tiring. I've been working on it for 5 years,
Yeah.
and I really want to share it. And people are responding to it. People in the mental health field
Mhm.
and people who are spiritual are saying there is something going on with you. And I've
Absolutely.
said I don't want to know. I really actually don't want to know the mystery of this.
Right.
It remains a
Well,
mystery.
you're really you're connected to the mystery and you're enjoying it. You're
Right.
taking the ride. You're like, I'm going to be on this ride anyway, you know.
Well, the ride is taxing because I'm also bipolar. So when I do a show, it takes me a while to come back, to
Mhm,
come
mhm.
down and to come back because I
I
get
can
really
imagine.
manic. And then I fuel it with coffee and jelly beans, and we're off. We're gone. Bye. See you in a couple of weeks. And it's because it's Robin, and I keep seeing Robin in my mind, and I keep hearing him in my voice. It's like, oh, what are we doing now? It's like, no, we're not doing anything. You have to recede so I can get on with my life and my paintings and my girlfriend,
Mhm.
who's patient with me, who sees me burst into Robin sometimes in the middle of nowhere, just being that. And it's like Tourette's. I don't plan it. It's just,
Right.
and so, but the people who are dealing with mental illness and people who are bipolar and manic, like I'm getting crazy foam already, they identify with this. They understand that while this may be a spiritual experience, it's also born out of whatever maybe delusional thing that's going on with me.
Right.
And I accept that too.
Well, if
I have magical thinking. Maybe this is all,
yeah, I've heard you say that, whether it's a spiritual thing or mental illness, it doesn't matter, right? I mean, regardless, it's still you. It's still, like, you seem to be dealing with it well. I don't know, how much trouble
Rocky,
it's
watch
caused
me
you.
pull a genius out of my hat. Nothing up my sleeve.
I have a good question from Jill. She's asking, does Robin talk to you in addition to through you?
Oh, you want to talk about process? Okay. Process. Oh, you said it. You set it off. Here we go. Really? Okay. Um, okay. So when I want to talk to Robin, or if I have to do a show and where we have to rehearse, because we rehearse, it's like a buddy movie. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
you want to rehearse? Yeah, okay. We start a conversation as if he's there, and I imagine he's kind of, and I see him and I hear him. We have two separate souls, and then after a while, it becomes more Robin, and it integrates.
Mhm.
We have a separate conversation, and then Robin kind of takes over,
Mhm.
and it's all Robin, and I'm just sort of, and then I, I go away. I go away for a while and just let him go because I'm curious to see. But I'm there in some level. There was one time that I thought it was very interesting. I said, Robin, do you want to rehearse? And he said, yeah, I'll take it from here. And I was like, what do you mean? I got it. Don't be afraid. And I was like, well, I'm not suffering from, disassociation, I don't think. But
Mhm.
when he said that, all of a sudden I was totally free of myself.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
wasn't
Oh, wow.
entirely okay with that, but I watched myself become completely free to be
Right.
Robin physically, mentally, and facially. And I was in the woods, and some woman walking her dog goes, "Oh, you're that Robin Williams guy. Yeah, I heard about you." Well, not today. So I don't know. It's kind of like there's an integration that can be scary because it's hard for me to come back.
Right.
And I can only relate as Robin sometimes. I can only
Right.
see the world through his eyes for a period.
Right.
But I know how to come back. I know how to go, I gotta step in. It
So
happens on stage too. When I'm doing my other second half of the show, I'm doing other impressions. Robin will
right.
come in and
He's coming in. He's like,
you're
"Don't do
done.
that guy. Do me."
Yeah, and it's just because it's like a hangover. It's like what you get into. You get in a groove. And
That's
I can't
interesting.
explain it, Mike.
So, have you had any like serious conversations with spiritual people, channelers who might try to I guess just discuss what you're experiencing and just talk through it and maybe determine if it's mental illness or if it's channeling, or like you said, you don't want to know.
Well, no, I think when I explained it to my therapist, she said you need more medication.
Yeah.
So I took more. But then the last time I was at a Comic Con, this exorcist said, "Come here and hug me." And
Mm.
I hugged her, and I suddenly it felt really almost purely Robin. Oh, it
Hugging
was
someone who is
so intense.
cosplaying
And
as the Exorcist.
yes, and
Oh
I
my
was like,
God,
"Oh my
that's.
god!"
Did you get a
And
photo of that? That's
no,
amazing.
there's no photo of me playing
Oh,
the exorcist.
that's
But
amazing.
she goes, "Come talk to me. Come talk to me after." And I said, "Okay." And I came after. And she goes, "There's two demons fighting for your soul." And I'm like, "Yeah, I
Oh
knew
my
that."
God, that's crazy.
Well, I don't want to know that.
Julie just said
Two
two
souls
souls
sharing one
sharing
body.
one.
Yeah, yeah.
No, you
Actually,
know
there's
what?
been some grabbing, and it's really
Yeah, I
weird.
think I
I go,
think you have a
What's that?
handle on it. It's source energy. We're all connected to
Yeah,
something, and it's just
yeah.
maybe there is that individual perception that shouldn't be in your body that's fighting to try to be with you, and it
Well, and
certainly
I try to
could be
resist it,
Robin.
and it's almost irresistible because the way Robin is, and it creeps into most of the interviews, which I'm not saying, oh, I'm going to have to figure out Robin, and I don't try to do an impression. So if my voice doesn't sound like him, it's because I'm not trying to do an impression of Robin.
Right.
It takes me a long time to get that voice. It's preparing. It's watching videos of him. It's really finding all those elements and symphonically into one performance. So no, I'm not trying to sound like him. I'm not trying to. We do maybe two show. Somebody said two souls sharing a body, and that occurs. That does occur. I just can't be, the body can't be my girlfriend's. That's all. I set a boundary there.
Well, again, I feel like the reason it feels the way it does, in my experience, because obviously not everybody in my audience has experienced it, is the authenticity of it. It just, it doesn't feel like you're faking or trying to do a show. It feels like this is just you and what's happening, and you and whatever else, whatever other source energy is coming through, you're just, and that's, I think, where the word channeling kind of comes in to play. It's just coming through. You're the conduit for it. It's not like you're sitting down and being, all right, I'm going to conjure up Robin now. It's like, and I wouldn't even ask. I'm hoping he comes, and he's poked his head in here a couple of times, and Richard Dreyfuss even came by. So I love.
Well, see, that's an impression, though.
Right.
And I can do something similar with De Niro if I do it long enough. Like psychologically, it's going to start to take over, and then I don't know, get a problem.
Yeah, let me ask Robert De Niro what consciousness is.
Consciousness. I don't know. The guy wants to know what consciousness is. Do you know? Do you know?
I kind of have some ideas.
Would you share them with us? Consciousness. I'm awake now.
Now I'm
asleep. No, that's a goofy De Niro, but it's an impression.
No, but it's amazing. It's really so why don't we actually use that as a bit of a segue, because again, I was talking about your comedy prowess. Why don't you share with us, I mean, for people who don't know who you are and maybe are seeing you for the first time, I mean, I know your story. It's in the movie. I don't know how much of it you want to tell, but you started as a stand-up comedian and got to a level of success where you're on the Carol Burnett show.
Right, but I want to do a rebuttal before we get into this history thing, because we need to talk about this controversy thing.
Okay.
You brought it up and we sort of danced over, and we brought in De Niro, and but you said something about it seems authentic to you.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't seem authentic to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Got stuck in De Niro for a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, big time. And so what I don't do is dispute that. What bothers me is, and I'm on TikTok, and I listen and I respect people's opinions. It's in the movie. There's a guy that says it's a fugazi. Somebody else calls it a hoax, and some people, and I want to point out the controversy that I'm doing it for cashing in on Robin's death. I'm doing it for fame, which that bothered me more than anything, because I've been famous, and it almost killed me.
Yeah.
I didn't ever want to go back into show business, and I'm not going to sit here and try to prove to you or anybody else anything. It's not worth it to try to prove anything.
Yeah, that's on them, Joey.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But it's okay. And I think the controversy isn't bad. It creates a dialogue. It creates a freedom to believe what you want to believe. Absolutely. If I was out here saying, oh, yes, it's all real, it's kind of, you could tell. And I don't even fucking know. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know what he did? I don't know. If I told you that I knew, I would be lying, because I don't know. Sometimes it seems like, okay, time to put on a show. Let's put on the wig. Let's go. Yeah. And other times it just grabs me, and it's like, oh, and it's just, I can't stop.
Right.
And I didn't ask it to start. I didn't ask for any of this. I didn't ask Robin to come bursting into my life and grab me and say, let's go back to work. I didn't ask for that.
Right.
That I said no to that when he died, because people are saying, you're going to do a tribute. And I said, absolutely not. Never.
Right.
And that's in the movie too. And that's real. I didn't want to, but I felt Robin saying, I really want to get back to work.
Yeah.
And I said, well, how can I say no to Robin Williams if this is real and I'm crazy? Oh, well, let's do a show.
Right.
But what's real interesting, and my girlfriend Madeline brought this up, is that there's a controversy within me.
Mhm.
That's really where the controversy lies, because I still don't know.
Well, so that brings up a good question. How does Roger feel about being here talking to me?
Hold on, I'll go get him. I'm happy to do it. I think it's a good. First of all, I do want people to see the movie. I want more than anything to share this with people who love Robin. It's a humanitarian mission. We took part in something called the Peace Abbey to get some humanitarian work done, and it got done through
Awesome.
Robin Williams taking part in it. We do work with the Children's Hospital. We do stuff that Robin would do.
That's awesome.
So what I feel is that I'm doing some good with this film. I want people to see it. I want people who love Robin to understand what he meant to me. If I could say one more thing about the film.
You could say 100 more things about the
It's
film.
just about devotion.
Yeah.
It's about one person's experience with a great soul and a brilliant man who I can't even believe he's gone.
Yeah.
And I have to express it in any way that I can, because
Absolutely.
I'm not going to get over it.
Absolutely. Follow your heart, Jilly says. And you
Sorry
know what? No, dude, again, it's so evident. And even in that moment, it becomes even more evident. You know, you are so authentic, Roger. And, you know, I mean, I feel like it's a double bonus with you, because even though I don't see you often, you know, we've only encountered you. I feel like you're a true friend. I really feel
Yeah, you're a
connected to
good guy.
you.
I appreciate you too.
You know, and you gave me an opportunity to feel connected to Robin. I mean, I really literally felt like I was connected to Robin, you know, again. And there's a part of your show at the end that you come out and you talk about that, and you talk about, you know, it was before I saw the movie. Like I said, that's really what the movie's about, you know, is the whole reason you're doing the tribute show and all of that. And, you know, again, I recommend to people, yes, get the movie. I think it's scrolled across the bottom probably about 147 times already. I haven't been counting, but please get the movie. And if Roger is playing anywhere near you, are you doing any live shows recently?
Yeah,
Or?
I'll be at the Comic-Con all weekend in Boxborough, Mass.
How do you
I'm
like
gonna
doing
do
the
3
Comic-Con?
shows.
I saw that you had some pictures. Is that like a
Yeah.
good audience for you? Are people receiving
Well,
you?
it's not a giant like theater thing. It's people dressed in costumes and people bringing their kids. And I'll do like half hour, 45 minutes as Robin. And that part of the show that you were discussing where you know, there's this humanitarian challenge for us to come together and push away that cloud of hate with the love, you know, that we can bring. It's time in this species on this planet. Hugs and love to you too, Jay.
Jilly.
Yeah. You know, and to that's part of Robin's, I think, mission in coming back, if that's what it is, to say, what would Robin say if he was here? You know, he would try to bring us together in a beautiful way, and he does it with fart humor too, but it's still a humanitarian mission that we're both on, to try to bring people to love and stop the dark. Let's get out of the dark. You know how many people are just, and I don't, no judgment. I like a good horror movie. But given the chance of watching, you know, the Partridge Family, well, let's not go with Partridge Family, something a little lighter, and Forensic Files. What is, you know, most people are going to go, oh, Forensic Files. Yes, let's watch the, and you know, I that's like the pornography of violence, and I get into that too sometimes. I want to see how that person died and the crime scene, but what is that doing to us?
You know, you bring up such a great point. I mean, again, the live stream of consciousness, I guess I talk about it as like this entity. You know, the idea of, you know, duality exists, right? So there is good and there is evil, and it's a matter of, you know, one choice. What do you choose to, you know, what kind of energy do you choose to put out? It's interesting, because I definitely understand that there are dark things in life that you like as entertainment, and I believe that's just a part of duality. You know, we're just kind of satiating that dark side of ourselves, and it's a better to watch a movie to satiate that dark side than to be dark. You know what I mean?
Well, the dark has a purpose, and I was going to make a very light sort of Ronnie Howard kind of film, and like, but I recognize you need to go through this dark to really feel the light. And so I let the film go dark for a while to you to understand my experience with this. And then, you know, It goes. It's a roller coaster, and
Yeah.
then you can't have all this light, and no dark. So I
Mhm.
really believe there is a dance between the dark and the light. But if you're just dark,
Right.
I don't think it's not healthy for me. I go to a really dark place and I have trouble. That's where my alcoholism is fed. It's like
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
big bad wolf is like, yes,
Right.
yes, more. And then
Right.
it's like all of a sudden, I don't know how I got a needle in my arm.
Right. But you know what? But it's a point of reference, right? I mean, it's like you know how you felt when you were there. And it
Right.
wasn't good. It wasn't good as much as you might have thought at the moment it was, at
It
the
wasn't
moment it
good
was
for anybody that was
right.
involved in my life.
Right. And I
It
think,
was pretty bad.
that's a part of the journey, right? The
It
human journey is
is.
is
It is.
learning,
And
you
like I
know,
said, it's trying to make it do good. Do good. Just
yeah.
be good. Good's a good word. If you don't like God, try good. Try just freaking being good.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a nice word.
It
Good ain't
really is.
bad.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know about evil and what's the opposite of evil.
Good. No?
Good. Well, yeah, I don't know. I believe in dark and light more than good and evil or good and bad.
Right, right.
Because sometimes bad things happen and then out of it comes some good stuff and vice versa. So I don't know, but
Right.
it's a dance.
Well, you know what? I think we're kind of confined to language, right? So good and evil has always been kind of the way I've described it. I've never
Mhm.
been a organized religion kind of person, but I said, listen, my spiritual beliefs are this. There are two forces. There's good and there's evil, and you basically choose which one you're going to align with, you know what I mean? And you
Which
know,
wolf are you going to feed?
right, exactly. You
You
know what I
feed the
mean? And
one
that
that one you feed is going to get strong. Give the
exactly.
kibble to the nice wolf.
Exactly,
You asked
exactly.
about Carol Burnett and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, well, let's talk
This is
about
a
your
long rebuttal.
yeah, we still
What
got
was the
about 15
question?
minutes. I just wanted to talk about where you came from, what your career where you started and what it was like for you, and then,
Mm.
maybe even kind of little steps along the road to, 20 years ago when Robin Williams died and you had your experience.
Well, the first time I saw Robin, I was 17, and I recognized a kindred spirit.
Mhm.
But before that, I was doing impressions for my mother. I was doing Columbo and Richard Nixon. I was a song and dance man when I was 12. I was
Uh-huh.
in local dinner theater productions, The King and I, and I always loved being on stage. But then when I was 18, I tried stand up,
Mhm.
and because I had seen Robin Williams and wanted to do
So
that
he
sort of.
was the initial inspiration for you to
He
even
really
start.
was. Well, and
Wow.
Richard Pryor, I sat
Mm.
through his first movie twice. I never sat in a movie
Mhm.
and then sat there until it came on again and just, what? Your monkeys died? Damn, I was gonna eat them too. Yeah. All that stuff. And Richard Pryor and George Carlin. Hey,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
oh, they inspired me. And Cheech and Chong, man.
Yeah.
Man, they all got, this is awesome. And I was a big pothead and I started writing stuff and a lot of it was whimsical, like Robin Williams stuff and pothead humor and Michael Jackson dancing with the Elephant Man. And, the first time I had a open mic night in Boston, a guy had an epileptic fit in the front row. So that's how it got kicked off.
Oh my God.
And
Good start to
eventually
the career.
I was a serious actor and I did some serious plays and I got serious about acting and I moved to New York. And I did that for a while, went to school and studied with Sanford Meisner at the Neighborhood Playhouse and learned some serious acting stuff. And then I ended up in a play that was very distasteful, and I decided I'm just going to be a comedian. So
Hmm.
that took me to getting on the Carol Burnett show and then a sitcom. And then I was the Zima guy, and it all crashed
The
and
Zima guy.
burned when each and everything got canceled around me. And I was having a gambling and drug problem anyway.
So wait, what was the cause of the crash? What was going on?
I think it was,
Personal.
well, these things got canceled, but I couldn't handle. I mean, I wasn't ready to be in the middle of a must-see TV experience. I was on the Tonight Show going, not really making a lot of sense. And Jay Leno going, yeah, well, that's yeah, my
Oh,
next
I
guest,
didn't see I tried to research a bit. I did not see that,
No,
online.
I'll show
Is
it to
that
you
on
someday. It's ugly.
is
And then I
that
went on Arsenio and just things fell apart and then drugs. And I just got out. I got out and I said, I'm never going back. Then I moved back to Massachusetts, and that's it in a
Mhm.
nutshell. But I did a lot of stuff. I got to hang out with really cool people like Dennis Leary and Jon Stewart and Adam Sandler. We all came up together, So while they were getting really famous, I was in rehab going, nurse.
Right.
So that was
But
kind of hard.
you had a good run. You had a, you know, you enjoyed it. No, I mean,
No, I didn't. I'm
you
enjoying it
didn't.
now because I'm
Okay,
sober.
good.
I was really tormented, even in the limo on the way to the Tonight Show. I'm like, oh man, I owe William Morris $5,000. What am I gonna do?
Oh,
You know,
man.
it was bad. And
Wow.
I came back to Massachusetts because I had started to I got away from show business and started painting. These are my paintings here, and
Nice.
some of them. This is my mascot.
If I remember correctly, you was going to say you do pet
Yeah.
paintings. That looks awesome. Beautiful
So
job.
so yeah, these are some of my, since we're showing off, these are some of
Yeah.
my paintings. And
Hold
and
on a
this is
second. Let
this is
me
New Orleans.
make you bigger
This is
than
the
you.
other thing I was doing to get well. I needed a chance to
Awesome.
do something other than show business because it was killing me. And I wasn't ever going back to show business. I love painting. I'm still working on paintings,
Awesome.
and it balances things out in this
Yep.
sense.
Yep.
Did I get bigger somehow, or was it just my head?
Oh yeah, no, you were showing your pictures. So,
Oh, that's fine.
you were showing your pictures.
Oh,
So
now you're bigger. I appreciate it.
yeah,
Let's get some level.
there you go.
My head. Dwayne's giving you a big head.
So wait, I want to say two things. I want to say from what you were saying a little while ago. One is the first time I ever sat through a movie and was like so taken by it that I had to sit through it again.
Yeah.
Was Viva Knievel. I don't know if you remember that movie. It was a movie about Evil Knievel, and
Was
I was
it George?
I don't remember who it was. I was with my brother. I was probably 8 or 9 years old. But I do remember staying twice through the movie because that was so cool to do that.
Wow. Was it an actor playing him, or was it a documentary?
No, it was an actor. It wasn't
Oh, I
a
know this, and I
documentary.
can't think of
Yeah.
his name. And his son's a
It was
famous
just a
actor now.
story about him. Yeah, it was just a story
And the
about
guy
him.
married Barbara Streisand, and I can't think, but I saw the movie too.
I'll
When
have
he
to,
jumped off the ramp in Caesar's Palace and broke all his
yeah,
bones.
yeah. And then the other thing I
Hamilton,
wanted,
George Hamilton played him.
that's right. That's right. The other thing I wanted to say
Good
was
movie.
I've actually had Tommy Chong on the show, and he was amazing to
Oh
talk to.
wow.
He was so amazing to talk to, and I actually got to
Oh
virtually
wow.
smoke with Tommy Chong, which is very
Did
cool.
you really?
We smoked a little bit. I was like,
Oh my
this is a
God.
great moment, right?
Oh, I'd lose my sobriety to smoke a joint with Tommy Chong. Hey, we're having a good time. Yeah, far out, man.
Nice. People
Having
are
Tommy Chong and Reverend Jim in the same room.
oh my God,
How did you
complimenting your
do with it?
artwork.
Well, you ate it, man. You put it in your. Well, okay. Actually, I slipped into a little Dennis Hopper there. Who's another one? You know, we're all the brother and the
Yeah,
brother.
again, it's all kind of tapping into source energy,
What was it like to smoke a joint with Tommy Chong?
you know, he was so freaking easy to talk to, and we had a great conversation. I was like, hey, what do you think about this idea? He's like, nope. He was like, hold on. He picked up a thing. He's like, I got 4 joints right here. He rolled the joint, and without me even asking, he's like, hold on, virtual shotgun, and he leans forward into the camera and he blows me the smoke. It was awesome.
That's great.
Yeah, it was really, really cool.
You know, I would love to. If I was going to get high with anybody, I would have loved to get high with Marlon Brando.
Oh yeah.
My face is melting. It's just would be so weird. I need more Haagen-Dazs. Put some marshmallow scum on top, please. Oh, I'm melting. It would be so weird. I mean, I that boat has passed. I can't even smoke weed anymore.
Right.
But I did smoke
I
a
don't
joint
think you need to.
with Julia Roberts and Eric Roberts.
Really?
I'm not trying to beat your Tommy Chong.
No, that's
You're
cool.
the
No.
king, as far as
We're just swapping stories, man. This is fun. This is good.
But that was fun at a part of Halloween party. It was all 3 Roberts, the 3 sisters, the
That's
brothers.
awesome.
That's
That's
cool.
awesome. I also, so we'll swap more stories. I had a guy on my show who calls himself Flat Earth Dave. And that was an awesome conversation. He's like one of the biggest flat earth guys out there. He does lots of content, and I actually wanted to have a conversation with him to find common ground. I didn't want to like him to convince me the earth was flat or anything. I wanted to know what his spiritual belief, what he thought of consciousness, and he gave me some great answers. And it was awesome to have him on the show. So this show has allowed me to have some great conversations. I got to thank you again because this is so much fun.
I had no idea. And I know I talk a lot. I'm having a little bit, like I said, jelly beans and coffee got me off. And I didn't know we were on tonight. I forgot to look at my calendar to see if I had anything going on. And here you are.
I'm so glad I called
I'm
you
so
and that I appreciate you being able to hop on last minute notice. I didn't know it was last minute notice, but because I spoke to you on Monday, you said, okay, no problem. I'm
I
looking forward
know,
to it.
and I
Yeah.
just didn't look at my calendar. I just thought it was free and clear, and I'm
I
trying to
do it all the
escape a
time.
little bit because I got.
You know what? I keep a calendar that I don't look at also. So,
I don't need weed to be lost in the weeds.
we're kindred spirits.
We are.
And David Wexler's out there. What's up, David? He's saying
Hi,
very
David.
cool.
You too, man.
So, all right. So we talked about your career a bit and why you stopped, and then before we told that story, you told the story about your spiritual experience with Robin, which brought you back as a comedian. Do you only do the Robin Williams show, or do you do regular Roger Kabler shows?
So here's the structure of it. I'm just getting a glass of water here. The
all good.
structure of the show is that the first 45 to 50 minutes is all Robin and his characters. And he does some naughty stuff, and Mrs. Doubtfire sits him down and lectures him about why it's naughty and how he could be canceled. But it's not like crossing the line naughty. Like, we're not making fun of ethnic types and people with deformities anymore. Not really.
Right.
But content-wise, she wants him to be a little more profound. So that's 45 to an hour, and then we have our little message. And then there's a little intermission for 10 or 15 minutes so people can get more drunk. And then I come back out as me, talk a little bit about Robin, like we've been talking. And then I get into my act, which is called Overactors Anonymous, which is all the other impressions I do, and some singing and some fun. And people take requests, so we get some interesting, requests. And I do a bit with De Niro and Joe Pesci doing "Who's on First" by Abbott and Costello, which
that's great. Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci.
Yeah, and Brando and Godfather the Musical, which is a short sort of preview of some crazy stuff.
And the people that you're doing, I feel like you can almost say the same thing. Like they've tapped into their own kind of connection to source, and are going with the flow, and they've become their authentic selves. I mean, those are all pretty authentic characters that you're talking about.
Well, I was watching a documentary with Al Pacino tonight, and I watched everything he does, including this lisp that he has. Now, I'm not doing an impression. I'm remembering what I saw and how I saw it. It was mellow, and then I remembered him doing Serpico and screaming, and I remember seeing The Irishman. And I was so bored during that film, except every time Al Pacino started to yell, I woke up. Oh, Al Pacino's on now, doing Jimmy Hoffa. So I watch stuff. I watch interviews with Connie Chung and Marlon Brando, and I try to really absorb these people in the same way. I'm a method comedian.
Right.
Trying to absorb and see the pictures of them and try to get them up to you.
So you're it's like a connection to the human spirit, I think, and you kind of focus on these little nuances that make those people who they are.
But I think the most important thing is how they are. You look at somebody like Anthony Hopkins, who's very much a dynamite. He's going to blow at any time. So if you get him in a tire, it's going to get bad. And then you have to, understand that he comes from this Welsh upbringing. He's an alcoholic and in recovery, and he's a brilliant actor as well. You have to calm down. And so I try to be like him more than sound or look or anything. I try to be like them. Try to understand where they're coming from, sort of thing. That's the best I could do.
Sure, yeah.
And
but again, I mean,
geez, the first time I saw John Travolta, I'm like, oh, he won't look at you when he's saying I love you, right? What? And it was it. I understood. He's not going to make contact. I don't think.
That's so awesome.
Well, it's just how he is. It's more than anything,
Yeah, totally. No, again, I just feel like I hate to keep going back to the consciousness thing, but it's really like it's like you're just tapping into that energy. It's an energy of how these people are and the energy they tap into.
Well, it's humbling too, because you're at the mercy of this energy. I'm not in command, but I saw a movie called At Close Range with Sean Penn and Christopher Walken.
Mhm.
And when I was done, I understood. I understood completely why. It was Chris on the verge of a nervous breakdown every moment of that film. He was on the edge, and he killed. And I said, "Oh," and that was what I learned. And then all of a sudden, I'm doing Christopher Walken, and I was the only one at that time who was doing Christopher Walken. And then Jay Moore said, "I saw you do Christopher Walken. How do you do it?" I said, "You have to act like you're having a nervous breakdown. I don't know how he sounds. I don't care." And then, let it rip. And he started doing it. And then all of a sudden, Kevin Pollak's doing it. But I wasn't the first one. Chris Rocken was the first one. And then it was some guy I saw doing a restaurant. But I understood my own version was he's on the verge of a nervous. He's going to kill somebody.
Right.
It is
Right.
an art, Joe.
Yeah, it is. And again, that's, I was going to say that when you were showing your paintings, like for me, humanity and kind of why we are here and all of that stuff, energy, it all comes down to we are here to create whatever in whatever medium that might be, whether it's
Right.
a conversation, an
Yeah.
intellectual, a mathematician, you know what I mean, doing their math. I mean, that's an
Yeah.
art to them, and it's just the way that they're channeling and connecting. It's
Do you this is absolutely true what you just said, and the reason apparently is because it gets us high. When we express and create, and this is Robin Williams' philosophy, I totally buy in, we
Yeah.
catch a buzz. That's why
Absolutely.
you and I may be a little high right now,
Yeah, absolutely.
because we're the conversation is why people. That's why Alcoholics Anonymous work, because Bill and Bob, the founders of that, started to connect, and they were getting high just from talking.
Yep.
And
So
you can get high from eating. You
right.
get natural highs from these, things. And when
Mhm.
you're creating or you're expressing, you do catch a buzz.
Yeah,
And so I'm high as a
totally.
kite right now because you let me just run, and
I love it, man, and that and me too, because this show is that for me. You know what I mean? Being able
I see
to,
that.
have a conversation with somebody like you, or I talk to psychic mediums, I talk to all sorts of people, and actually, Courtney, who we were talking about earlier, she was a listener of this show, and she contacted me, and we started chatting, just and became friends through chat,
Mhm.
and one day she said, "Hey, I got an idea for a show. Will you help me?" And I said, "Okay." And we met on StreamYard just like this, not
Yeah.
live, but we just kind of met. And there was something about her that I said, I'm meant to do this with her. I need to help her do this because this is going to mean a lot to her. And her show idea was called The Strange and Unusual. And the reason she wanted to do that show was to talk to people, have the conversations, which is one simplest aspect of this platform that I love. But
Hmm.
she wanted to have conversations with people who were considered strange and unusual. She suggested that name
Oh,
for it.
wow. Yeah, that's
Like
because
like we spoke to the Lizard Man, who's in Ripley's Believe It or Not. His whole body is tattooed with lizard scales. He's got body modification and all of these things going on. And I said, why don't we call the show Strange and Wonderful, so we celebrate this, right? and
yeah, yeah.
and and she started telling me about herself. You may hear from her. She may ask you to be on her show, but she was telling me. I said, what do you mean, what's strange? And she was telling me about herself, and she has a girlfriend that's a doll. So she has a life-size doll that she is her companion, and she
Uh-huh.
share. And for me, immediately my reaction was not one of like, oh, that's so weird, or what's
Right,
wrong with you. It was like, that's interesting, like how does that happen, and what's that about? And it was so
mm,
non-judgmental. I felt my heart expand just a little bit, and like be
yeah,
like,
of
oh,
course.
I want to
In your mind.
and my mind, exactly, my heart and my mind. And that show for me, she's doing it by herself right now, but I helped her to set up the StreamYard and do all of this, and
Right,
I had such amazing conversations through it. And it was like a mirror to this show. It wasn't set
right,
out to be spiritual, but
right,
it really was like a spiritual connection, like you're saying, like people connecting to other people is
right.
such a cosmic moment, right? And such a great exchange of energy.
Well, you're reminding me of something Francis Ford Coppola said today, which is very profound and very true, I believe, about art. This is your show, and that's Courtney's show. And, you know, when you start something like this, you're not entirely sure what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And the show starts to show you what it is.
Absolutely.
The show becomes the artist. And that is so true of so many art forms. It becomes the thing you're of service to.
Yes.
You're being of service to the show, because the show will tell you what it wants.
I love that. And that's exactly your story. That's
Well, that's what you're telling me. It sort of takes a shape.
Right?
And that's I think true of so many things.
That's so cool. I love being tapped in the same way that you are, Roger. It's awesome.
Thanks, man. Well, you too. I had no idea what we were. Follow the adrenaline. Oh, shit. Well, you shouldn't have said that. Oh, it's okay. I have to be Robin Williams all weekend at this Comic-Con. I get dressed on Saturday afternoon, and it's on until Sunday night. Yeah. And I'll just be. And Lindsay Wagner was on stage answering questions. She goes, "Oh, there's that Robin guy. I guess he's trying to upstage me." And I had no idea she was doing a thing. I'm like, "Oh, it's okay. It's okay. You can be quiet now. There's nobody here. Why are you ranting?" I don't know.
It's so funny. I forgot to put on I had a Hawaiian shirt I was going to put on.
This is what I was wearing when I was painting. You got the schmata.
That's all good, man. You know what? I really wanted to talk to Roger first. I would love to talk to Robin. I'd love to know what Robin thinks about consciousness. I don't know if he has any thoughts on that. But
I'm not going to do an impression. I'll tell you what I think he thinks. How's that?
How's that?
You want to talk to Robin, but I don't really do that. I know it's just.
I don't want to talk to Robin.
It may happen. Hey, dude. I'm not.
Yeah.
So Robin's, after all the interviews I've heard, I just think what his idea is. Somebody asked him what they thought was his greatest accomplishment, and in this he said, "I don't think I've done it yet." And perhaps his greatest accomplishment is in some way coming back to finish his work on Earth. And I think that maybe is some way real, or in some way come back to be remembered strongly for the positive and the happy instead of the miserable stuff that we were feeling. To me, last impression is important as the first impression. Right. And so to come back and do this sort of thing, and I don't know if that's consciousness, but he was always very big on trying different things, exploring different facets of himself, there's so many. He wasn't just Mork.
Right.
And he wasn't just that creepy guy in 1 hour photo. He was so many things. When people do an impression like, "Whoa, hey, Mindy, whoa," that's fine.
Right. Right.
Do that.
Well, you know what? I gotta say,
things,
there's definitely a consciousness in your show that he's connected to, right? So in many ways, what you're talking about is that story is still being written,
Could be. I couldn't say. I really couldn't say. I said yes. Let's take this ride. Let's see where it goes. I know Robin talks to me. I know the time I said we started doing the show. And I said, "Do you know how hard it is to do this show? How exhausting it is?" And he said, "Do you have any idea how hard it is to come back to life in your schleppy body? Come on."
Totally.
That's the answer that came to me. I didn't think that up. It just
that's great.
It just came to me, and I thought that was hysterical.
It is. So you're getting to actually still enjoy Robin as much as resent him.
Well, it was kind of like, I think I have to empathize with how difficult it is to come back to life in this less of a genius, Jewish, schleppy, middle-aged, chubby dude who's trying to schlep across the stage in a Hawaiian shirt with his gut hanging out and suspenders. And it's like, and that wig, you look like Phyllis Diller after a binge.
There's such a charm to it, Roger. You're such a charming guy. You really are. I gotta say
it is. And I laugh, but it's like, Oh God, it's tiring.
Well, I want to be respectful of your time, so
No,
I'm
it's
gonna.
all right.
I
Don't be
want to.
respectful. Why? Let's keep going. I'm
You
having a
brought
Paul
you.
Lynn
I
thing.
do want to ask something. You brought it up a little bit
Yeah.
earlier when I asked you about why you didn't include that cool, great story about I miss my kids. Why you didn't include that in the movie, and you said something about being respectful of his actual kids.
Mm.
And somebody told me something. I don't remember who it was now offhand. Who's connected to you or Robin Williams' kids, and said that there was kind of some, it was a very delicate situation between you and them. So is that something
Who
can you
said
tell
that?
us?
Because I don't know
Uh,
that I have
I,
any
I
that are
don't.
even aware of me. I don't know that they're aware of me.
You don't know that the kids are aware of you, so you
No.
haven't had any interactions with the Williams family.
Okay, the only interaction I've had is when I started the movies. I wrote a letter to Zach and
Hmm.
one to Susan, his widow, and I said, "I'm going to do this movie. It's a love letter to Robin.
Hmm.
I don't use his voice or his image at
Which is
all."
phenomenal, by the way.
Thanks, man.
If you see the film, so get the film, by the way, audience, my audience, get the film. It's amazing that there is no actual Robin footage in that movie. I mean,
Thanks.
it's like you did such an amazing job with
Well,
all
thank
of the performances, even when it's meant to look like a retrospective kind of,
you. Right.
it's amazing that it's not.
Thanks. But well, appreciate that. And some people have been fooled. They said, "Did you get permission to use this?" And I said, "No, it's just me."
Yeah, yeah.
But okay. So I wrote a scene for the film, and this is get your hankies out, everybody, because this is rough. And it actually does take place at the end of the film, but it's not his kids. It's me and Robin.
Hmm.
Okay, and we're having a discussion. It's not the kids, but I did write a scene where towards the end of the film, his kids come because they've come to see the show, which was my hope and dream that somehow they would have somehow seen my show, live show.
Hmm.
So there's a knock on the dressing room door. I'm there panting from having been on stage and I'm sweating and I'm just me. I'm not Robin.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it's the kids. And you can see in my eyes, this is something really big at this moment. It's just me. And I see it's them. And they say, I think it starts out with Zelda saying, no, it starts out with me going, I don't know what to say because they're just staring at me.
Hmm.
They come in and I don't know if they're coming to serve me papers to sue me or what.
Hmm. Hmm.
So they're just looking at me and I say, I don't know what to say because it means a lot to me that they're there.
Sure. Yeah.
And Zelda says, we saw in an interview that you said that our dad experiences things through you. Is that true? And I said, yeah,
Hmm.
it is. When it's strong, and this is very strong. So Robin's there.
Hmm.
And one of the kids, I don't know if it's Cody, the youngest, he says, this is really good. And that was my dream. And the first time I wrote it and then I rehearsed it, I just bawled because it means
Hmm.
a lot. His kids mean so much to me.
Wow.
Therefore, I'm not bothering them with this because
Right.
I know that somebody doing Robin, and I won't mention any names, did an incredible 5-minute thing. And his fans sent it to Zelda.
Hmm.
And she was like, please stop sending this. That may be what you're thinking of.
Hmm.
She wanted them to stop sending this footage of this young, who's very talented, other Robin impressionist.
Hmm. Hmm.
He's much younger than myself, doing
Right.
this footage, doing Robin, and they thought it was amazing, and it got a lot of attention. God
Right.
bless him. Like maybe he'll do the buyout, but I don't want to bother them with this. This is
Sure.
my personal journey. I don't need anything from them. I don't. I have every right to do this movie as long as I don't use his image. If
Sure.
they're hurt by it, I need to look and see what it is that's hurting them.
Right. Right. Right.
And
I don't think it was that. I don't think that was the story that got conveyed, that there was
what was the
some sort of
story?
bad blood. I don't remember, and actually, I think Courtney knows. I think it was her co-host who was talking about it because I was on her show the other night. But I think her co-host was talking about. I don't think it was a bad thing. I think it was just about being respectful and being sensitive. It wasn't. It wasn't like any bad blood or anything like that.
Mhm.
Was that scene an actual experience though? You said you never met them. So it was just kind of like a kind of
Not
something
even
that you.
close. But I've met some of his friends, and some of his friends are my friends, and they've been very, very sweet and very
Mhm.
encouraging. And one of them said, "Dude, you are Robin. You're
Yeah,
scary."
yeah.
But look, man, it's important for me to express this, and I forgot what I was gonna. What were we just talking about? I lost track.
Well, I was just I went back to the fact that you didn't put the scene in the movie because you were being respectful of the kids, and I just wanted to know what that relationship was like, or if they've
Right.
contacted you or anything like that. We were there.
No, and here, I know what I wanted to tell you. This is the deal with Robin. You know, let's be honest. Robin was multifaceted, like I said, and I'm not treating this situation as if he was some pious religious angel figure. He was naughty in his comedy, and it is in this film brought to that. The film wouldn't work if he was this sweet angelic person the whole time. I was tormented by him, whether he meant to torment me or not.
Mhm, mhm,
He
mhm.
did naughty things
Yeah.
in my own life, and in reality, he grabbed my girlfriend, and I think because he just wanted to express
Right.
something through me, and he felt
Wow.
that he experienced her, but
Wow.
not in a really overtly disgusting way.
Right, 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 right,
Oh my
right.
God, a girl, you know,
But just a physical. It was a physical moment. Right.
both. I mean,
Right. Right. Right.
it was, and for me to experience him experiencing her was like, dude, hands off. Okay? Boundaries are bitching, you know. And so, but it's important to go again through the dark to get to the light. So I go through a lot of Robin stuff, and Mrs. Doubtfire says, "Dear, don't you have anything
Mm.
profound to discuss with this audience?" And finally, you know, he gets to what's on his mind because I push him to it. I said, "You didn't come out here. I know you didn't come out here to get me freaking killed and to do dick jokes. What did you come here to do? Let's get to this." So finally, he realizes he needs to belly up to the bar and say something that of meaning and depth. He doesn't even know, other than I want more stage time. I want more stage time. I got to have the laughs. I mean, that's Robin.
Right. Right.
And eventually, he gets to the heart.
Yeah.
He learns how to open us up through his pee caca, through his dick jokes, and all the stuff about Mr. Kelly, what you're doing, you know, and all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Lord, get the puppet, you know, and all that stuff that people laugh their asses off, and then he reaches in and gets their heart. And I've seen him do this so many
Yeah.
times. I couldn't do anything less than that. So you got to
Yeah.
do the naughty.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I'm gonna just give a testimony to your show because you go through Robin, kind of, you start as like the stand-up version of
Mm,
Robin, and then you start to get into some of Robin's characters,
mhm.
and then at the end you come through with this powerful message, and it's not just a powerful message, it's that the powerful message is being told through Robin. Robin is actually telling you that
Right.
message, you know what I mean? And that in itself, I think, adds to the power of it because you really feel that message coming from Robin. Yeah, I mean, you really,
Thanks,
really
man.
do, you know. Um and
Thank you.
and yeah, no, it's true, dude. I like I said, I feel connected to you, even though we never talk to each other. Just having experienced you on this planet and knowing what I think about, the
I hope we're
collective
here. I don't know.
yeah, no, I feel like we're connected, whether
We
it
are.
be constant or just rarely, it doesn't really matter because I
And
love you, man, and I know you
I
love
love you
me.
too.
Yeah, yeah,
Hey,
totally.
I freaking love you, man. If I could, no, listen, listen to me. We get to see Robin in this course of this act in a way that we wish that he wishes he could have done
Mhm,
in this life. He didn't
mhm,
get to. He didn't get to be old. He didn't get to do this incredible finale to his life.
mhm,
So I
mhm,
felt like I really wanted to give him that in some weird way
mhm,
through this film and this show. Give him that.
mhm.
You know, that's my devotion to him. And that makes
Awesome.
me feel like I can cope with his loss a little bit better. And that's probably this whole thing is done out of extraordinary grief. And
Even if that's the point of it, it's an amazing thing to experience and an
thanks.
amazing thing for you. Congratulations.
And we have
Um,
to be happy about Robin. Come on, when we think about Robin, all that
mhm,
great stuff. So I
mhm.
would, first of all, I just have to say, first of all, it's the end of the interview, and you're saying, first of all, please. He didn't die in some selfish, act. He had a very debilitating brain disease called Lewy bodies dementia, folks.
Mhm,
He was not in control. He was was going down the drain fast, and he didn't want to suffer anymore. And I certainly want people to know that's what happened to him. It wasn't depression. It wasn't drugs. It was just he was losing his mind.
Right.
Okay. Thanks.
Right. Awesome. Jilly's saying I love you guys.
You too, Jilly.
Tim is saying
Tim loves you. Hey, that's it. Okay.
So before we say goodbye, does Roger have any words of advice or love or wisdom for my audience? Get the movie.
Do I? Could you please just love each other, and remember, you know, it's, I don't know how long we have. The meteor may be coming. I'm not some religious, like, whatever. I'm just a hairy Jew here in Massachusetts, but we really do have an opportunity to exist in love and put the small stuff down. It's not that big of a deal if the guy cuts you off. You know, if we can love ourselves first, look in the mirror and go, I love you, you know, and then love the people that in the next room and bring them in and say, you know, I love you. And the people that have said it here, it can start to be more of a fad and maybe start to chase off this cloud of hate and dark. That's so you too. Hey,
that's my mom.
Man. And it's just, and I'm so glad she's here. And you know what? I'm not just a freaking marshmallow. I have an edge. Okay. What do you want to do? Come on. But I have to have this love or I'm going to perish. I just have to share that. That's my
so true.
That's it.
Thank you so much for sharing it. I'm just going to put you in the backstage. Don't go away. Hang out 1 second because I want to say goodbye to you personally.
Okay.
Let me sign off the show and I will see you in a minute. Thanks so much for being here.
Don't take yourselves too seriously. That's a good one too. Thank you guys.
Oh, wow. Holy moly. Was that an amazing episode or what? I am so happy that I did that. I did not want that to end, but I looked at the clock and I usually end at 10 o'clock and I just didn't want to take too much of Roger's time. I also don't want to keep him in the back for too much longer. Let me just see really quick. I'm forgetting offhand who I've got on the show next week. So let me just take a quick look. The live stream of consciousness. I know I have my calendar up there, or actually, you know what? I think it's in my calendar on my computer. It is. I have Jordan Martin next week. So no, is this week? Yes, that is next week. Jordan Martin is a guy I actually work with who is a real estate coach, but such a great character. We do a podcast with him at the studio. We produce a podcast, and he's such an amazing on-screen personality. So I'm looking forward to seeing him next week. Thank you guys so much for being here. That was amazing. Courtney says, great show. Love you. My mom says, love you. Thank you so much, Mom. That was amazing. From Ninja. Jilly says, hey, Mom. And Ninja says, thanks so much, Roger. All right, folks, I got to wrap this up and I got to go talk to Roger. I will see you next week. Thank you from my heart. Peace.